Season 2 of The Last of Us has just wrapped up, and as fans of the game, show, and the genre as a whole, we can't help but draw fan art inspired by the franchise. Hello everyone, I'm Red Salonga from Brushpoint, a visual artist taking over our art challenge videos. I have been making art both traditionally and digitally for a couple of years now, but I'm still hungry to learn and eager to improve, just like you. I remember getting chills watching the trailer for the sequel when it was teased. Ellie was sitting on a bed strumming her guitar, and Joel walked in, standing by the door. You just can't get that feeling anymore. And I was just as excited as any The Last of Us fan would be at the time. And I would have never expected what emotions I would feel. Until the game got leaked. But we're not here to talk about that. No, we're here to talk about the art of The Last of Us. But who is to say that we won't go over a bit of nerd talk, both as gamers and fans? So, for anyone who has not watched the show or finished the game yet, this is your spoiler warning. So, after sitting for hours on end rewatching documentaries, replaying playthroughs, and sitting through the show, not to mention being permanently scarred from Joel's death, and internally crying whenever I see him on screen as a result, I'm still in awe at how beautiful, grounded, and realistic this game looks. Whether you like the game and the TV show or not, there is no denying that it is a well-made game. And with that, we were inspired to create fan art that would hopefully do justice to the standards set by the amazing team of artists over at Naughty Dog. But where do we even begin? There is so much to cover, from its immersive environment to the game's innovative mechanics and animations to its infamous yet complex and dramatic story, or do we just go to its characters' designs? I believe we need to understand what The Last of Us Part 2 is about first. And where else do we need to go but to its book? So from director Neil Druckmann, instead of trying to find an interesting story, we needed to unearth a strong emotional core. With the first game, we found it in the unconditional love a parent feels for their child and what we do to protect those we love. As we considered similarly powerful and relatable emotions, we were intrigued by the idea of loss and how it can drive us towards incredible hatred. How far would you go to bring justice to the ones you love? How would the experience change you? And what kind of repercussions would follow? With that, we get a sense of groundedness that they keep mentioning even from the start of making The Last of Us Part 1. That's where they springboard off from. They take from real life emotions and experiences, enhancing the story and how you perceive it. So in order to create or improve our illustrations here, we make it relatable, believable, and have someone we feel sympathetic to. We must understand where characters come from and their motives as well. We can start from Abby, since I believe this is who the game should have started with. But in all seriousness, her character has layers we can peel off and analyze. She's a deaf survivalist in her early 20s. Abby has a commanding presence. Preferring utilitarian militaristic clothing, she is the image of a hardened soldier and wields a weapon with casual confidence. Her imposing muscular build reflects years of combat and strength training. Her generally unsmiling and serious expression conveys her straightforward, austere nature. That's the sum up of her character at least. But after playing the game, we can fully understand that under all that physical appearance, she has the need for revenge, has pain, and has guilt coursing through her. With that need for revenge after the death of her father under Joel's hands, and having that pain of loss fueling her, we have a character driven to better themselves with nothing but rage to push her through and finding his father's murderer. So in this illustration, JS went to its source, the concept art book, to familiarize himself with creating the characters. He even went as far as checking figurines as references just to get the closest depiction of each individual. At first, he thought of doing only Abby and Ellie, showing their clear rivalry. He also thought of showing Abby's brute strength and dominance, but as he was sketching and watching the playthrough, He felt that the crew was crucial to Abby's cause. Joel didn't just hurt Abby, but also the chances of the world to find a cure. They were even pivotal to Ellie's arc, wherein she had to hunt them to get to Abby. And that's why they must be included in the illustration. We said that narrative plays a role in creating a successful illustration. That is why it is important to add a narrative in composing illustrations. So why did JS post the Salt Lake crew like this? Is it to look like towers that would fall? Is it just to show their looming presence over Ellie? Well, yes. But not only that, there are posts like that to look as if they are moving forward. Is that physically? No. It's about them moving forward with getting their justice and moving on with their lives after that painful event in the mountains. But those were just for composition. We haven't even talked about the use of values and light. So how do we use that here? In his illustration, JS used values and light to evoke emotions and mood. We can see that he used the shadows to hide the crew, making them mysterious and vague. Just like how we didn't know who they were at first, but you can see light hitting them as they are faced forward or moving forward. This is to show that they have turned towards the light, like the Firefly slogan. But not only that, it means that Abby has moved to the light, leaving her dark past and finally finding peace. Now for the main protagonist that we all love, Ellie. JS composed Ellie small to show how big a task lies ahead of her. He also said that he wanted to show more of her iconic silhouette, which shows Ellie with a backpack, bow, rifle, and machete. At this early stage of the illustration, JS had also considered the logo or title of The Last of Us, making sure that it had enough space to breathe. Now, for Ellie's pose, we must look at her character. In the game, we see her moving stealthily around, using her brains, ingenuity, and the oneness with her surroundings. She does not have the strength to outmuscle her opponents, which is why she's posed as if she is sneaking around crouched. Ellie, although in front, is facing towards the left, which indicates Ellie is going back to face the past mistakes made by Joel. It can also mean that she can't move forward since she clings to the past. Ellie fought for the truth when she had doubts about Joel, and now she is fighting for the same reason Abby was fighting for: vengeance. Something Abby has left and is done with. We can now also look at how we used values in this scenario. Ellie is placed in the foreground so that the value composition creates a dark over light scenario. With that composition, we can further extract that Ellie is in a dark place. It's with these values that we can see that she is hiding. That is also complemented by where she is placed, under the light of Abby's crew, under her territories, and that she is not over what has transpired. For the background, it must add something to the story. With that, JS picked Hillcrest, as it is the start of Ellie and Abby's journey intertwining. It is also a place where a lot of people would recognize, as this is the most action-packed part of the game, and where a lot of playthroughs highlight the grounded difficulty. With major parts of the narrative, composition, and elements solved, there is one thing left to do, but make sure we capture each character. JS goes over each character to make sure they have the right personality. He looks at every wound, scar, and blemish to give them grit. Even the way they look is important, to further push how their character was written. As you can see, JS did not try to imitate The Last of Us art style, but rather went a step further and did more of a painterly approach to push the feeling of grit. With this approach, it conveys an even more expressive sense of mood. Finally, some adjustment layers and blending modes for final touches and enhancing the piece even more. With all that done, we have a piece driven by the narratives of the game. It helped us compose and make this illustration more cohesive. It also gave us more depth and something to peel off. It can look as if it were just drawn like a poster, but the intentions and why this works will be subconsciously read to anyone looking. You can think of it as also inserting Easter eggs here and there. It may seem simple, but in its entirety, illustrations always work out if there are narratives to back them up. Now, without further ado, here's our Last of Us fan art. Thank you guys for watching, and if you're looking to compose more villains, you can definitely check out this video.